Today's a really special day. That's all I gotta say. It's Independence Day. It's July 4th. So I was looking around. I was looking for video ideas, and I was like, let me do a tier list of cookout items that we usually take to a cookout and celebrate. I could always do a beer list as well, but I didn't. Um, Anyways, as I was looking through the tier list maker, I realized that there is no actual cookout tier list. So we're going to do a tier list on meat, baby. Because let me tell you, it is not Independence Day without a cookout. And there's quite a few things on this tier list that I'm like, yeah, you know what? We're going to bring that to a cookout. And then there's other things like filet mignon that we're not going to bring to the cookout for Independence Day. So let's get into this tier list of meats that you would potentially eat, or we'll just say that meats that you'll potentially eat at Independence Day. Let's get into it, guys. All right. So first things first is this aspic. Aspic. I've never even heard of this. I Googled it, and the Google machine told me, hold on, where is it? That it's a savory clear jelly prepared from liquid stock made by simmering the the bones of beef, veal, chicken, or fish. I have no idea what it is, so we're gonna put it under never tasted. Next one's gonna be, hands down, probably one of my favorite breakfast foods of all time. Even lunch, you could make yourself a BLT, and the BLT baconless tomato, by the way, is going to be amazing. We're going to put bacon. We're going to put bacon in S tier. The next one's going to be hamburger. So hamburger is definitely one of those ones that you'll probably bring to the cookout, much like you would with some bacon. Because let me tell you, not only can you do BLTs, you can also put bacon on top of burgers. If you haven't done that, highly recommend it. Anyways, hamburgers, I would put that. I put it under A. And the only reason why I don't put it under S is because, sometimes I say it really depends on the ground beef you get that's going to make the hamburger. Ultimately, you can get some really terrible, hamburger, but there's also some that it's like, yo, that's amazing. Steak. This is going to be an unpopular opinion. I just finally started eating my steak medium, right? I always had it like a piece of rubber sole. I would eat that thing yay. I don't want any meat. I don't want any pink. I don't want to hear the cow mooing. I'm still going to put steak under A tier because steak is actually it's good. Bologna. I don't like bologna. I'm just going to put that out there right now. Bologna to me is like one of my last go-tos if I'm going to be getting, something. If I need something to eat, bologna's yeah, I mean, I'll eat it, but it's not that good. Followed by brats. Bro, let me tell you, in my older age, right, I actually love brats, especially, you soak them in beer or whatever, and, you cook them up. Brats are really, really good. Yeah. Chicken patties. So this looks like it's going to be the pre-prepared chicken patties, which you're not going to bring to the 4th of July cookout. That's all I got to say. If you're buying these chicken patties, as a kid, I ate a boatload of them. And, yeah, I'm going to have to stick that in C tier. That's all I got to say. Okay, so chicken. Chicken to me is, it's definitely A tier. It's not my go-to. It's very good for you. It's a great protein. It's pretty good, especially if you get the boneless, skinless chicken breast, grill it up, especially if you marinate it just right. But to me, chicken's a slippery slope only because if you don't cook it to the proper temperature, potential death. Let me tell you, sometimes I get impatient. Crab. Okay, I grew up in Virginia, right? I grew up in Virginia. We used to go crabbing with my uncle and stuff during the summer. It was a lot of fun, and we get the blue crab. And what's funny is, everybody in my family on my dad's side would always tell you, you would starve before you would actually get full off a crab, which is 100% correct. If you got to pick your own crabs, you're going to starve before you actually get full. The problem is crab is just so damn expensive. Me personally, I love crab, but like I said, the price point. On top of that, I tried to get some blue crab out here in California, and you won't even guess how much. They were going to charge me $30 for two crabs. I go back home, I can get bushel, which is like 36, I think it is, for like $120. Like, but crab is definitely to me, it has like a place of nostalgia. Like, it just reminds me of home. It's just so good. But yeah, crab definitely A tier. Duck's good. I like duck. It's definitely got its own taste to it. But it's just one of those things. Sorry, I got a phone call coming in. But duck is definitely going B tier. Filet mignon. I would put filet mignon because like it's got its own taste. It's not quite steak flavored, if that makes sense. It's definitely an A tier. The price point is what really kills it for me. Ham. Ham is not my go-to. I definitely put ham in B tier. It's every time I think of ham, I always think of like Easter or Thanksgiving. I don't think of like cookouts and stuff like that. This is like mainly based on cookouts. Um, okay, this is going to be one that is going to be super controversial. And like, I mean, super, super controversial only because I have my reasonings behind it. So as a 10-year-old, and this is talking about hot dogs. As a 10-year-old, I love you, Dad. I love you, Mom. My mom got pregnant with my baby brother. I have a baby brother that's 10 years younger than me, right? So my dad or my mom, I don't know. All I know is that my mom quit cooking for us. She's like, I refuse to cook. So there's two foods in my entire, no, three technically foods that I will not eat unless I'm on the verge of death. And one of those being hot dogs. You know why? My mom stopped cooking and my dad, bless his heart, started cooking for us. And it was always the cheapest hot dogs you can find and the cheapest macaroni and cheese you can find. So when it comes down to macaroni and cheese and hot dogs, they better be the biggest name brand that you'll ever have. Otherwise, it turns my stomachs. When it comes to macaroni and cheese, unless it's Velveeta, I will not touch it. And the other thing is spaghetti. I am hit and miss when it comes to spaghetti. The spaghetti sauce better have meat in it. It better be delicious. I do not want to have just tomato sauce. It was like tomato paste that my dad threw some water in. Those are the three foods that I'm like, yeah, no. Calamari. Okay, so I didn't try calamari until later on in life. I'm definitely not bringing calamari to a cookout. Not exactly my type of game, but calamari to me is like, it's like a C tier. I got to be in the mood for it. Don't get me wrong, calamari is really good. Definitely C tier. Now, lamb chops. Lamb chops is like actually I would say a really good, like, a good meat that you can cook up on the grill. I don't know. It just sounds good. I'm like thinking about it now. I'm like, damn, I want some lamb chops for dinner. Lobster. Okay, we're going to a cookout. If you got lobster, by all means, you're going to be my new best friend. But if we're cooking it out and like when it comes down to lobster, it's like a B tier. It's not one of those ones you're going to be cooking out at the cookout. They threw they threw mushrooms on here because I guess mushrooms are are considered meaty. I don't really consider them meaty though. I love mushrooms. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to a cookout specifically just to eat mushrooms. Mutt-on's actually pretty good. I put it B tier. Oysters, I'm not a fan. It's like eating boogers, man. Like I ain't about to be messing with that. Pork chops. Pork chops is another one. I'd say like pork chops and lamb chops, they kind of go together hand in hand in my opinion. I'm not exactly well versed when it comes to food. But at the end of the day, I'd say they're very good. Pork tenderloin is actually a pretty good one. I'd say also for a barbecue. Rabbit. Unless you're going to a cookout from where I grew up, you're not going to have rabbit or squirrel. Is there squirrel in here? No. They got venison though. On the menu for a cookout. Rabbit is really good, but not exactly cookout food. Ribs. Ribs is a S tier, period. And the story, you get them seasoned up just right. throw it on the grill, let them cook for 8 hours. Let me tell you, that's the way to go. Salami. Salami kind of falls into the same category as bologna. I'm just kind of like meh. Salmon. Salmon's good. I'd put it as a B tier, but I'm not going to a cookout for that. Same with scallops. Scallops are kind of B tier. Shrimp. Get some shrimp with some steak. Man, I need to figure out my life. Like, what kind of cookouts am I going to if I got bacon, steak, and ribs as my S tier? Hey, any rich folks out there that's willing to adopt me, let me know. All right, Spam. So there's a famous picture my buddies circulate of me when I was 18 with a can of Spam. And I have to admit, I love Spam. I put it up here. Actually, we'll move burgers up to S tier, Spam A tier. So good. Tilapia. Tilapia to me is like the bottom of the barrel when it comes to fish. I don't mess with it at all. Like, unless like I'm starving, I'll mess with it, but it's not like same tier as hot dogs or the boogers in the shell. Tuna, dude, like you get yourself a good tuna steak, I'll fuck with you. Turkey patties. Turkey patties is not something like I've had turkey patties before. Not that good. Not that good at all. Turkey, it goes with ham with me. The only time I'll eat turkey is during like Thanksgiving. And then venison. Bro, I love venison. I haven't had venison in years since I went home last time. And let me tell you, venison to me is like an S tier because there's so much you could do with venison and it's just so delicious. But anyways, you guys, that's going to be my tier list for foods. We did bump the hamburgers up, but I say bacon, steak, ribs, hamburger, venison, S tier, and then everything else just kind of falls into place. Most cookouts, like I said, you're not going to see salmon. You're not going to see tilapia, rabbit, well, you'll see turkey patties depending where you go, but calamari, nah. Like, I would be surprised if you see some of these things on there. But anyways, you guys, let's go full screen. I just want to thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out. That's going to be our tier list for, I guess, meats. It wouldn't even be cookout meats, even though like I kept thinking about cookouts. But for the most part, that's how my list goes for when it comes to meats. And I had pretty good reasoning behind some of them. Don't forget, guys, mash that like button, subscribe. Every little bit does help out the channel immensely. Happy Independence Day. Happy 4th of July. Y'all take it easy. Have a great and wonderful day. I'll catch you later.